Hey guys, Crystal here at Crystal's Crafties. In today's tutorial, I want to show you how to make poppet designs in Cricut Designs Space. So you can see here I have this cupcake with a number 4 and a banner, and I have created this to be a cake topper. But I want to show you how easy it is to actually make these types of designs in Design Space. So I'm going to delete my actual item here. I sell that in my Etsy shop. And I'm going to show you how I made one very similar in Cricut Design Space. So I made this, and I made it from this cupcake that I found over here in the images. So if I come over here to images and I search cupcake, you can see there are several cupcakes in here to choose from. Let's see if I can find the exact one I used. Okay, here it is. That took a while. So I just clicked this, add to canvas, and here it is in my project. So I'll delete this one here, and I'll show you exactly how I've done this starting from the cupcake. Now you don't have to use a cupcake. You can use a rainbow, a heart, a popsicle, unicorn, whatever it is you want to use. This basic method is going to get you to the end point. So pull in whatever shape it is that you are wanting to use. And then we need to get just the background. We don't need these extra things in here because we want to make our straight lines and make a puppet. So to get just the background, hit this contour tool and hide all contours, and it will leave you just the background. There it is, just our background. Okay. Now I've changed the color to this gray just to make it easier for me to see and easier to work with. Okay, now we need to decide how many colors we want our cupcake to be. For me, I had the chocolate base and then 3 layers of icing on the top. We need to divide this into the colors that we want. So let's duplicate it. First of all, I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate. I'm going to use this other one as a background later on. I'm going to hide this guy for now so that you can see more of my workspace. Okay, so that's going to be my background. This is what I'm working on right now. We're going to divide this into our colors. To do that, we are going to come get a square. And we're going to open that up, extend it out, and make it as small as you possibly can. So 0.1 is going to be as small as we can get this. Is it? 0.0010. Oh, I like that. Okay. And then you just use this to divide out your cupcake. So right about there is where we're going to want the base layer to be. Okay, so that's where I'm going to want the base layer. So I've got my line already selected because I'm working on it. I'm going to hit Shift and select my cupcake, and then I want to slice. So it has cut the line out of the cupcake. Now I want to move it up. I'm going to go, you see how this was on the 5-inch mark? I want to move this up in exact increments. So I'm going to move this up to the 4-inch mark and Shift. My line is not solid anymore. Let me move this line up. Okay, to the 4-inch mark. Okay, hold Shift to get my cupcake in my line and slice. Okay, make sure I'm using solid lines here. Once you slice them, they get the little cupcake cut out of them. Okay, so we had that on the 5, that on the 4. I need another line that's going to be on the 3. So let me make sure it's exactly positioned. Okay, I'm going to take this one, put it up here on the 3-inch line, and you'll see what I'm doing. I'm just taking these lines that I created and I'm lining them up so that they are exactly 1 inch apart, and then I'm slicing my cupcake. So hold Shift to select the cupcake again and slice. Okay, now I have all of these slices out of my cupcake. I can get rid of these extra parts in here. that I don't need anymore. All these extra lines that were created from the slices. Okay, I have a sliced cupcake and a solid background layer. Let's start coloring our cupcake. Okay, we're going to have 4 colors: brown, pink, purple, blue. Duplicate this. You don't want to lose the slices that you've got, but you just want to do one color at a time. So this is duplicated. I'm going to contour everything but the bottom slice. So I'm going to click out the top 3 slices. I'm going to leave my bottom slice in there, and I'm going to make it brown. Okay, there we go. There's our brown layer. Let's duplicate this again. Control D, or you can click the duplicate button. Now I'm wanting to work on this bottom layer of icing, so I'm going to contour out the cake and the other 2 layers of icing. I don't need that, I don't need that, and I don't need that. Okay, and this one is going to be pink. Alrighty. Okay, let's do it again. Duplicate. Let's get rid of the icing that we don't need in the cake. This little layer is going to be, did I do that wrong? I did. I got rid of the wrong one. Okay, let me contour this guy again. There we go. Okay, whoops. This guy is going to be purple, so let's turn him purple. And now the last one is our blue. We don't need to duplicate this anymore because we are on the last one. So I can just contour it, get rid of everything but my top part of the icing. Make it blue. Okay. So we're looking good so far. We've got our colors in here now, and we're ready to start making the shape of our poppet. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to unhide my design. So you can see this outline here is what makes, the ridges in the poppet, and then we put the circles in. So let me show you how I get that outline going. Okay, I'm going to take my bottom layer and I'm going to duplicate it. A lot of duplicating. You want to make sure that you're doing that so that you're not losing your original ratios. Okay, now we're going to make the inset. So to do this, we're going to come to offset. And if you put a negative up here in front of it, it puts the line on the inside. If I just have it at, let's say 0.15 without the negative, my line goes on the outside. But I need an inset here, so I'm going to put the negative in front of it. And you can make it whatever size you want. I just happen to like the 0.15. I think it gives it a good amount of a border. And hit apply. Okay, once you have the inset created, select your original image and your inset and slice them. Okay, so we don't need this, and we don't need this. This is now our first little outline. And we need to make it darker than the base. We want it to appear shadowed. So come up here to your brown that you already have it, and hit advanced, and just move the color down so that it's darker. Perfect. Okay, let's do the pink. Duplicate, make our inset, and it's going to be set at the last thing that you did. So the last thing I did was an inset of 0.15. That's what it's at. Apply, select them both, slice, get rid of the unneeded parts, put this over here, and make it a little bit darker. Advanced, and just drag it down. Perfect. Okay, moving on. Duplicate that. Create our inset. Slice them out. Get rid of what we don't need. Put it back over here. Make it darker. Okay, last one. Duplicate, inset, apply, select it all, slice, delete what you don't need. Oh, come here. Make it darker. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to move all of this over where we can see it better in the middle of the screen. Okay, so it is really starting to look a little like a poppet now. I'm going to take these sliced parts and only work with them for right now. So I've selected them, well, thought I had them all selected. There we go. Let's move them out of the way. So move all this other stuff over out of my way. Okay. Now it's time to put in the circles of the poppet. So come over to your shapes, grab yourself a circle, and just size it in. What you want to make sure you're doing is that the circle touches the top and the bottom of your frame that you just built. So you need to make sure it's big enough to touch them both. When it does, you can just duplicate it and fill up your line. Okay. Let's see, that size is probably going to be good for here as well. Just duplicate these, and we will make these perfectly aligned and equally distributed here in just a minute, but for right now I'm just getting enough to fill up the shape. Okay, let's see if that size works for here. This will work if I add another line. I think in my original design, I had some much bigger circles up at the top, and I wasn't really a huge fan of how that looked. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I had bigger circles in here. I like these smaller ones better, so I'm going to keep going with these smaller ones. Okay. And we'll just come down here. Okay, so what you want to do to get them all lined up is to select all three of your circles. So I've got the first one, I'm holding Shift, circle, circle. We're going to align the bottoms of these, and then we're going to equally distribute them horizontally. Okay, now they're all lined up and perfectly even. We're going to weld them together, and then weld them to the blue. Select your circles, select your blue, hit weld again. You've got your frame. That's what's going to sit over here. Let's move on. So all these guys, select them all. Let's align the bottoms. Let's distribute them evenly. Weld them together. And then weld them to the frame. Select the circles, hold Shift, select the frame, and weld. Those are done. Okay, same here. Select all of your circles, align the bottom. These I need to move over. That's going to be too many. Hold on. And let's get that guy over there. Okay, now let me select them all. You see how they're not at all even, but that's okay. I'm going to even them out. Align the bottom, distribute evenly. Now they're all perfectly aligned. Weld. Select the balls or the dots that you've just welded. Select your frame and weld those together. Now let's see, what do I want to do with these guys? I think I'm just going to have to make these a little bit bigger in order to get them to work. So let me take this one and make it just a little bit bigger. Yep, that might be what we have to do here. Okay. And then we just do the same thing. Select them all. Let's align the bottom, distribute them evenly, and weld them. And these, select them all, align the bottom, distribute them evenly, weld them. Now we weld all of this together. Weld the 2 sets of circles, and then weld the 2 sets of circles to the base. Awesome, 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 awesome. It is really coming along and you're almost done. Now this we're going to need to add the extra line to connect the 2 sets of dots. These we didn't need to because there was just 1 line per color, but here there are 2 lines for this color. So get yourself a square, unlock it, pull it down here, and what you need to make sure is that the top of the square and the bottom of the square touch all of your circles. Then just make it the right size you need. Don't let it overlap your base layer here at all. Select, weld. Now you've got your line there as well. Stick it over there on your cupcake. Get all of this into the middle. So guys, this is really, really shaping up. You are so close to being done at this point. I know it's a lot. Okay. I'm going to line these up as perfectly as I can. Get out of my way, everything else. Scooch over a little bit. Okay. Group this all together and duplicate it. You will need 2 of this pattern for when you're stacking your design after you've created it using cardstock. If you're not using cardstock, you don't really need 2, but if you are using cardstock to make this design, you really want 2 of these just for the 3D layered effect. Move that guy down a little bit. Okay. So group, duplicate, and then just make sure these are perfectly centered on top of each other. Come to a line and use this cross center. Group those 2 back together. Okay. Then I'm going to put this under here, and this under here, and this under here, and this under here. Okay, I'm going to group all that together. I'm going to create an offset from my background however many times you want. I like to do 2 of them just to give my cake toppers a really good layered effect. So offset, and this time we don't want the negative, we want it to be an actual offset. So 0.15. Why aren't you working with me? 0.15. Perfect. Apply. And I'm going to do 1 more at the same size, 0.15. Apply. Okay, so my back one I want to be this silvery color. This one I want to be kind of a tan-ish color. Get that back there. Get that back there. I don't need this one anymore. I'm a little off center here. I'm going to ungroup and fix that just because I have some OCD going on. Okay, let me group all of this together. All we need to do now are the top dots. So let's start with some more circles. And you just size this in to be smaller than the one behind it. That looks good. I'm going to make it the lighter blue to match the background. Duplicate it. Duplicate it. Awesome. pretty sure all of these are the same size, so I'm just going to keep duplicating. Going to change the color to a lighter purple. Duplicate. Okay, now I know my browns were a different size, so I'm going to need to pull in a new circle for the brown. Let's see. That should be good. Make it a lighter brown. That's a little too light. Let's go there. Okay. And then just duplicate all of these out. There it is. Group it all together. You have just made a cupcake poppet in Cricut Designs Space. And that's all there is to it, guys. We'll see you next time.